With your award-winning news team, Lynn Brooks, Philip Coleman, weather with Richard Scott, and sports with Gary Harris.
Thank you for being with us tonight. I'm Terry Brewer. Lynn Brooks and Philip Coleman have the night off. We begin tonight in Libya, where protesters recently attacked the U.S. diplomatic compound, killing 4 people, including U.S. Ambassador J. Christopher Stevens. Officials say the protesters were upset over an online film considered to be offensive to Islam. The University of Alabama system has connections to recent Libyan leadership. WVUA reporter Jennifer Edwards joins us now with more in our top story at 6. Jennifer?
Thanks, Terry. Last November, former UA professor Abdurrahim Al-Kib was elected as Libya's interim prime minister. Al-Kib was an electrical engineering professor who began his tenure at UA in 1985. Al-Kib stayed at the capstone for nearly 20 years, being involved in the faculty senate and serving as a representative for the Muslim community. According to officials at the Embassy of Libya in Washington, D.C., Al-Kib was appointed to draft a new constitution and provide leadership until the general elections. Fast forward to the general elections, and a second university professor with ties to Alabama has been selected to lead Libya. Last Wednesday, Mustafa Abu Shagar became prime minister of Libya. This came one day after the attacks. Abu Shagar is also a former professor at the University of Alabama, Huntsville. According to Director of Public Affairs for UAH, Ray Garner, Abu Shagar taught engineering at the school for about 17 years before leaving around 2002. Abu Shagar's daughter says the men first met in Libya and continued their friendship in Alabama. According to Libyan embassy officials in Washington, D.C., Al-Kib's location is unknown at this time. Terry?
All right, thank you, Jenny. Well, Libya is not the only place experiencing unrest right now. In Kabul, Afghanistan, at least 15 police officers were injured at a protest against the film today. A senior police official says nearly 300 people were part of the demonstration. 2 police vehicles were burned. And the scene was much the same in Sydney, Australia. Muslim activists demonstrated at the U.S. consulate there. At least 1 officer was hurt, and some of the protesters chanted and held signs saying, "Obama, Obama, we love Osama." President Obama has called the U.S. diplomatic officials in the Middle East and reassured them their security is top priority for the government. Well, another big story we're following for you tonight is the chance of rain and some stormy weather. Chief Meteorologist Richard Scott is monitoring the situation and has the very latest on that. Richard?
Hey Terry, good Monday afternoon to you. Starts off live radar. Got a lot of rain happening out there across much of central, east, and northwest Alabama. By far the heaviest rain happening northwest of Tuscaloosa, north of Aliceville, over portions of Pickens County, Lamar, Fayette, Marion, Winston County. Some flash flooding issues could be possible there, but we do note some dry air working in from the southwest. Notice no rain happening down over southwest counties to this point. The rain has shut off for now. Still some showers going to be possible over southwest Alabama through tonight, but the heavier rain, I think, setting shop across north Alabama now. Yeah, some of that dry air, that dry punch moves into southwest Alabama. Notice how it dilutes all the precipitation away there across much of our counties, and the risk of severe weather is looking very small tonight. I think we're just going to see some rain at times. No major issues there. 72 at 10 o'clock. What about the risk of rain tomorrow? We'll talk about that, plus your weekend forecast coming up. Stick around.
All right, thank you, Richard. Well, a Tuscaloosa family is mourning the loss of a child tonight. Tuscaloosa police say it happened around 6:30 p.m. Friday on 15th Street and 33rd Avenue. 4-year-old Zykel Williams was hit after she ran into the street. Police say the child's aunt was going to the store across the street and the child ran into the street. Williams attended preschool in Tuscaloosa. One parent told us she was on the scene moments after it happened.
When I came, the ambulance was pulling up, so I was devastated. I'm still kind of in shock. I mean, it's a sad situation for everybody that's involved.
The driver will not be charged because authorities determined she could not avoid hitting the child. Another crash in Tuscaloosa sent a woman to the hospital after a brick was thrown through her windshield. The Tuscaloosa Metro Homicide Unit Captain Loyd Baker says it happened Sunday night around 9 o'clock on the southbound lane of Interstate 2059 near Keens Mill Road overpass. Baker said a woman and her 3 children were in the car when a large brick was thrown from the overpass. She was hit in the chest and neck. A tractor trailer was also struck by debris and another vehicle ran over the brick. The victim was taken to DCH Regional Medical Center for treatment. Baker says the homicide unit is following several leads to help solve the investigation.
We have witness information we're following up on. We have physical evidence we're following up on. We have evidence left at the scene. So all these things are hopefully leading us in the right direction.
Baker said there were no other injuries. 2 Tuscaloosa County teenagers have been arrested in connection with the case. Baker says Jordan Isaiah Price and Shane Adam Heron, both 16 years old and from Cottondale, have been arrested and charged with assault. And out of South Alabama, police are searching for a missing 15-year-old girl. Officials say her name is Eileen Maurice Lander. She was last seen earlier today in Dothan. Officials believe she was kidnapped, and they identify the suspect as Charles Parton. Officials believe they may be traveling in a light blue 1994 Mercury Villager van. The girl has brown hair, is 5 feet 5 inches tall, and weighs 140 pounds. You can contact your local law enforcement agency if you have any information on this case. On your election watch, voters in Alabama head to the polls tomorrow. That's to decide on a constitutional amendment. On the ballot is an amendment to take $435 million from a state trust fund to prevent cutbacks in state services. The money would be used for the general fund for 3 years. Alabama Secretary of State Beth Chapman says she anticipates around 20% of residents to turn out for the vote. Polls open at 7 a.m. and close at 7 p.m. You can see what will be on tomorrow's ballot and find out where you can vote at WVUATV.com. When you get there, just click numbers and links. We've got more for you on WVUA News at 6. More protests, but this time in Asia, and it's over land. See which countries are at odds.
And coming up in home team weather, still a little rain happening across much of our coverage area this hour. Some dry air trying to filter in from the southwest. What about the risk of showers through our Tuesday plans? And how about your weekend forecast? The weather's coming up. Stick around.
And the Crimson Tide defense has registered back-to-back shutouts, but find out why Nick Saban says they need to get better. That's ahead in Alabama's home team sports.